We'll just stop narrating my life in a moment. Was your session good this morning, Ola?
I hope so. Alice can tell you confidentially whether or not it was.
It was good.
Oh,
I was very much like, why am I here?
Right, I think we're on. I can see the buffering sign of loading to YouTube. Yeah, we're there. Great. So welcome everybody to our 2:15 directors panel. It's day 2 of strawberry picking, and it's a pleasure to introduce our panel host, the wonderful director Ola Ince. Ola, over to you.
Hi everyone. Massive congratulations on your pieces, guys. I've watched them all and they're so strong. Like, it's incredible what you can create when you have such limitations. So well done. I want to ask you to each introduce yourself and your piece. So your name, please, the piece you directed. That's round 1. I'm going to start off with Alicia.
I'm Alicia. I directed The Writer's Final Act, which was written by Emily. It's basically a murder mystery whodunit, but more light-hearted and with a twist.
Brilliant. Viggs?
My name is Viggs and I directed Art, written by Lily, and it's a short film. It's more so visual based. But yeah.
You directed Lullaby, you say?
Yeah, Lullaby to My Heart.
Lullaby to My Heart. Brilliant. Tell me what it's about.
So it's basically centered around a character called Butterfly, and they have a lot of, how would I put it? A lot of stuff going on mentally, and it's just about them finding out a way to tell people that they're not okay. Like, they're used to saying they're fine and they're okay and hiding their true feelings. And then obviously towards the end, it's more of an awakening of the realization of it's okay to be not okay and it's okay to go.
Thank you. Brilliantly said. Alice, can you introduce yourself and your piece, please?
Yeah. Hi, I'm Alice, and I directed Does Anyone Remember Laughter by Theodora Hayes Hollins.
And what's it about?
It's about growing up. So it's about a girl called Margot who realizes that she has to grow up, but it doesn't mean that she has to leave childhood behind her, and that she can still be young and fun even if she has to become an adult.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you. Thanks for sharing, guys. So originally, your plays were written to be shared with a live audience. It was for a conventional theatre audience, but then COVID happened and you had to adapt. How did you find that, and how did you choose to adapt your piece for either from stage to either film or from stage to radio? Vix, you can start first.
Obviously, at first, I actually found it quite difficult because I was so in a mindset of, oh yeah, I'm going to stage it. Scene 1, I'm going to have it like this. Like, I was literally planning out how I wanted to piece it, to stage it, if that makes sense. But then obviously with the whole social distancing and stuff like that, it's hard to even create the scenes that I wanted to create. So I had to think creative, like bring out my creative side and think of ways to still show that and still show that expression and the meaning, but whilst everyone's at home and everyone's like just not.
And why did you choose to stage it as a visual piece as opposed to like a radio play?
Like, this is just my opinion, so I'm not saying this, but for me personally, like, I don't really find a radio play as interesting to me. And I like my cast and I, like, we decided that we thought it was a bit more fun and a bit more challenging, obviously, as well, to do it as a film and like just to see how it goes. Yeah.
So it was a conversation you had with your team.
Yeah.
Came to that conclusion. And did you speak to your writer about it?
I think my writer it's up to you. Like, you're the director. I don't want to put too much onto you anyway.
Oh, that was brilliant. Oh, yeah. You're lucky. And Alice, how about you?
I was kind of the same at first. I was like, oh my God, I've got this whole idea of how to do it as a play. And I had all these ideas I really wanted to do on stage. And then we found out that it had to be a film, but it actually ended up working well as a film because it gave me more freedom with like these worlds that they go between and like being able to show that. And then also having to think of ways to bring them all into this like one bedroom, that I really loved the way it ended up with like her in the mirror. And it added something else to it that wouldn't have been there if it was a play. And I spoke to Thea, who was the writer, and it was kind of a mutual thing of like, it would just be more fun as a film and there's more to play with. And it's such a visual thing, like going between these worlds, and it's all the things that she's built and everything that's around her and with the bath. And I don't know, I feel like the imagery was so important. That's why I chose to make it a film. But yeah, I actually quite like it as a film. So as much as it was a challenge, it was a fun one. So yeah.
Brilliant. Now, Alicia.
Ours was a radio play.
Exactly. So you go and speak up for radio plays, champion them.
When they gave us the options, I automatically wanted to do a radio play. Like I considered a film, but the way that our play is, like the way the story follows, and like the characters are so like distinctive and stuff, and like meeting a new character each time, I feel like it would have been so much more interesting as a radio play and listening to it as a story, which it is, rather than film or as a play. I just preferred it as a radio play and everyone's voices being more like emphasized and distinctive. It just made it better for the characters, I think, as well, with their development. I like radio play.
Yeah, I think you did a really great job, and I think there are real differences between the two forms, and there are real pros between the two different forms. And I think you all chose really wisely. The forms you guys chose really enhanced your pieces. Okay, next question. You guys ready?
Yeah.
What was your process? So how did you go about making your films or your radio plays? I'll start with you, Alicia, first. Tell me about how you went from reading your piece to directing it to the piece that it is now.
I guess, well, when we read it, we thought it was going to be a play. And then when we weren't like sure what was happening, I guess I kind of concentrated on casting and stuff. And then when I knew it was going to be a radio play, I decided to focus like completely on voice work, and then also like the characters bonding, like the characters that have more history. We did exercises to bond them, like Willow and Wendy, because they've been married for so long. And then also voice work to make it more interesting to listen to if they all had more character voices rather than just them speaking. That's what we worked on the most.
And how long did you have for your whole rehearsal process?
So I think we had every day for like 2 hours.
And for what was every day? Was it like 2 weeks, 3 weeks? How long did you have?
I think we had 3 or 4 weeks.
For 2 hours each day?
Yeah.
Okay, and so did you start the first few sessions just purely exercise? Or did you do read-throughs, or how did you build it?
5 weeks. So the first week was read-throughs. The second week was characterization. So like drawing what you think your character would look like in like a cartoony way. And then the third week we were working on like bonding and voice. And then the fourth week was just reading and recording.
Brilliant. Thank you for sharing. Alice?
Well, when we got the plays, we had like a 2-week break where we kind of could like do a lot of work on them, but we still thought they were going to be plays then. So a lot of the stuff I did in those 2 weeks was like making lists and doing like facts and questions, but a lot of it was directed towards putting it on as a play. So I feel like my process kind of started over again when we found out that it was going to be a film. And it was a lot about thinking about how I would do what work each scene and how filming it in a certain way would like help the story, because I was trying to like make sure that everything I was doing was for the story and was to tell that. And I definitely struggled a lot at the beginning with like suddenly finding out it was a film, and I was like, I have no idea how I'm going to do this. I had such a vivid idea of how it would be on stage. So a lot of my process was just like figuring things out. And I had a lot of conversations with my cast and writer as well about their ideas. Like I was very open from the beginning. I was like, if you guys have any ideas, please give them to me. Like it's a collaborative process as much as I will make the final decisions and stuff. I don't want anyone to feel like they can't say something that they think. And so during rehearsals, it was a lot of conversation. The first week was spent sort of getting an understanding of the play. So I cast it over the 2-week break. I got them all to do auditions. So we already knew who was who. So we could just like start working on it. But I didn't want to start doing the scenes too early because we had quite a lot of rehearsal time. So we spent a lot of time just understanding the play. And then we started going through it and we did facts and questions together as well, actually, because I wanted them to understand it, how I'd understood it. And also bring their own ideas to it. And so that was quite interesting, seeing how their ideas differed to mine. And then, yeah, we started working on the scenes and acting, and I did a lot of exercises. Sometimes I would sort of make things up on the spot. Like sometimes I came with exercises I want to do, but also if a scene wasn't working in a certain way, I would like get them to do something or get them to try something. And so that was quite fun. That was probably one of my favorite parts of the whole process, was like trying things out to see what would make things work. And then when they did work, it was like really rewarding. So yeah, that was my process. Yeah.
Brilliant. And last but not least, Vigs, what was your process from reading to, what we saw?
My process was actually quite similar to both Alicia and Alice's, in a sense that obviously I got the play, I read through it, I tried to understand it. Me, like I'm quite fast. So as soon as I had the ideas, I was just writing them down. I had all my ideas down. I got the cast to read the play, like so that we can all go through it together. I had some sort of idea of who I wanted to cast for who, but obviously I didn't do the casting yet. And then obviously, like what Alice said, we had the 2 weeks off. When we came back, I had the discussion with my cast about like my ideas and if they thought like, yeah, that would work, as well as hearing their ideas to it as well. Because like what Alice was saying, like, I'm open to ideas. Like, I know my final like ideas where we're gonna go, but I'd like to hear like you guys' opinions on what you think would work and what you think wouldn't work, if that makes sense. So we're doing stuff like that. I casted them, and then we just started going into like character development and background work, like what made your character behave like that, why are they like this. Like even though in the play it doesn't really give you all the information, I made them make that information up to make them properly feel as if they were that character. And then from then it was literally going through scenes, working out, because obviously then we found out that either a film or radio play. And my initial ideas were for stage, so it was literally like conversation on how we can still try and keep some of those ideas, but change it in a way that it's possible to be created at home on our own and stuff like that. But yeah.
Brilliant answers. What did you or have you learnt about directing that you didn't know prior to this experience? Elisa, wow.
Alicia.
Remixing your names over and over again. Alicia, like Alicia Keys. Alicia, what did you learn that you didn't know
I guess
before?
Being more, like I knew I would be in control, but being so in control, and like especially my writer saying like you can basically do what you want, that was a lot. To make like creative decisions and stuff was really fun and new, and I enjoyed it.
Good, great. Vix, what did you learn that you didn't know before about directing?
I mean, I kind of knew it, but reality of like how much responsibility you have as a director. Like you really can't really afford to stress yourself. Like you have to be on top of the game. If you're not, then expect your cast to be. If that makes sense. So yeah.
Great. Alice?
It's not something that I didn't know before, but something I realized how important it was is being clear. Because sometimes I would try and speak to the actors and like give them ideas, and it just didn't come out, like I wasn't seeing it, and it was because I wasn't being clear enough with what I wanted. And it was about like I learned how to be clear in different ways and what worked best with like different people. But yeah, I definitely realized that quite quickly. I was like, I've got to work on really translating what I mean to them in a way that they understand. And often that wasn't talking, often it was like getting them to realize it for themselves, or like an exercise or an image, or I don't know. Yeah, so that was something that I learned. Yeah.
You guys sound like pros. What was the most challenging part of directing these shows? Alicia, you go first.
I think the obvious one is kind of the fact that it was not going to be a play anymore. And we found that out quite, not late, but we got the plays and then we got really excited about it, and then we got told we can't actually do it. And also like with that, like getting rid of all of the stage directions and changing all of that stuff. Also in mine, we had like loads of like the characters changed, genders and stuff, and having to figure that all out quite hard, but it just takes time. Like when you go through it and stuff, it benefits putting in the time. So
Vix, what was the most challenging?
I think it might have been like times like, because I didn't really want like my class to see me as like a type of teacher figure, or like someone who's strict and you can't have fun with. Like I wanted to keep the lightheartedness and like to just have fun with the whole film. But there were times where I had to, I wouldn't say put my foot down, but be a bit like, come on guys. Like, and I don't know, for me it just felt like sometimes I was thinking, who am I to be like them? Because in the same lessons usually, and now all of a sudden I've got some sort of authority and I just didn't really know how to go about it at times.
But did you achieve it eventually?
Yeah.
How did you go about it?
I think because I don't like the idea of pressure, and I know that for like particularly one of my cast members, they had like a lot, like they were in every single scene, so I know learning like wouldn't be as it was for the others. So I was at the start I wasn't so much saying, oh yeah, learn it by next week, like take your time, like learn as much as you can. Like I just have pressure on. But then it started to get to like I could have been taken advantage of, not in a way, but like by me letting you take your time, you're just like not really doing it. And there were times I had to be like, oh no, like can we actually get this done by because we are eventually going to run time somehow. So it was a combination of like light-hearted and authoritarian.
It's hard. Well done. Alice?
I would say one of the things that I struggled with was like a technical thing, was because we were on online meetings, when we were working on scenes, sometimes it was really hard to like get a rhythm. So it would sort of it almost felt like a read through from the beginning to the end, because there was that lag. And so that was quite hard. And that was something that when I was trying to think of exercises we could do, a lot of them didn't work because that lag just meant that couldn't happen. So that was something that some rehearsals like really just, I was like, oh my God, this is not working at all. So that was definitely a challenge that, I mean, I think we managed to overcome. I think that we found different ways to do it. And after, I mean, they weren't filming together when they filmed, they couldn't hear. And I think that we found ways to maintain energy, even if they weren't responding to someone, and even if there was that lag and all of those things. But that was a challenge, yeah.
Brilliant. I'm going to go to our chat and then come back to one of my questions. But on our chat, the question was, what were your inspiration sources for directing your play? Alicia, we'll go to you first.
I kind of like envisioned when I was younger, like in the car, listening to the storybooks in the CDs, like the kids' storybooks. I know my play's not kids' play, but like that type of the voices and the cartoony type of aspect, I think I brought to my play.
Brill, that's nice that you had that to pull from. Vix, what was your inspiration?
I think like for a lot of the scenes I did like voiceover, and I think I get it from I must have went to the Young Vic and watched the Fairview. I think it was the Young Vic, but yeah, and it was really good. And I think there was a scene where they're dancing, and then the music slows, and then they're slow-mo dancing, and then you just hear like voiceovers, like people talking. And I don't know, I like that idea. Like when I was watching it, I thought that is like I've never seen that before, and it actually looked quite good. So I kind of wanted to have that somehow in my film.
Okay, brilliant. Alice?
I didn't have one thing as an inspiration. Most of my inspiration was Thea's as well. So I sort of had a conversation with her quite early on and asked her a lot of questions about where she got her ideas from and what her inspiration was. And a lot of it was music and films. And so I did a lot of watching the music and the films that she'd told me about, and then also music and films that they reminded me of. One film that sort of sticks out is Lady Bird. I think a lot of the themes of that sort of are echoed in Does Anyone Remember Laughter? But then music was a big part of it as well, trying to bring out the fun of the songs that she spoke about. So yeah, that's
brilliant. Okay, next question is about what you found most rewarding. Someone's asked if there's a particular, like, was the most rewarding scene or moment to make. But you could also talk about a process, rehearsal process. Vigs?
I actually quite like the ending. And like, I know I cut a lot of it out, but there's in the particular ending where they're throwing confetti and Butterfly is saying it's okay, and like repeatedly saying it's okay. And you have slow-mo scenes of the confetti going onto their faces, and I don't know, it just felt nice. Like it just looked nice, and like it was just like it was a realization moment. It was a journey. Like from the beginning, you could see. And then that ending where it's just fine, like they felt good in a way. But yeah, I like that.
Lovely. Alicia?
Mine was when, like, if you'd read through a scene and then I'd give a note and tell them like how to do it, how I think they should do it, and then they do it again. And like when everything hits perfectly, like the timing between them and like the joke was really funny, and like they improved on what I said. Like when scenes just go like exactly how you imagine, that's the best.
I can relate to that. Alice?
During rehearsals, I think there was one rehearsal that sticks out is when I was working on a scene with Jemima and Rosa. And it just wasn't quite working at the beginning, and I was just sort of trying things to see like what would get it to work. And by the end of the rehearsal, it was just at a place that it just felt really good for all of us, and there was this energy that we managed to create on this like online lesson that just, I don't know, that was quite a special moment. And also the fact that was because of things that I'd been not making up, but like ideas that I'd had in the moment, and then to see them work was like, that was really rewarding. And then with the film, the scenes with the mirror took a long time to like get the eye line right and to figure it out and to get.
Yeah, how did you do that?
It was kind of, so it's called like masking, like editing wise, but it's basically Jemima had to take a video of herself looking in a certain direction. They had to like get the eye line and the angles and everything. So that took quite a while. So when that came together, that was definitely rewarding. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
You guys are awesome. You're really inspiring me. Okay, I've got a question for you about your actors. Was there ever any moment in your process where you were surprised by your actor or actors, and why? I guess I'm referring to the fact that you guys had done a lot of careful planning. Were there any other moments that weren't planned that you were pleasantly surprised by, but also just not very happy with? I think I'm looking for more pleasantly surprised by. Do you want to go first, Alicia?
Yeah, Emily kind of said this in the earlier panel, but Chloe took the character of Death in such like a different direction, but in a direction that like none of us expected. But she did it so perfectly because she kind of mixed it with herself, like her personality mixed with Death, and just created this really like funny and cool character that we weren't expecting.
Brill, what about you, Vigs?
I mean, a lot of the scenes within the play were quite tense, I guess, like, especially like Butterfly's like monologues and stuff like that. I wouldn't say I was so much like surprised, but like I know, especially in a read through, sometimes they would perform it and it would like actually hit, like it felt so like it felt it was them themselves, like especially Freddie, like it was himself as Butterfly going through those feelings, like, and it actually wowed me. I was thinking, no. And especially I think we were allowed to go into school like on a Friday, like as a floor. And so I think I got Freddie and Jasmine to like one of their scenes together, like just so I can just see it in real life rather than see it on Google Meet. And it was so nicely done, like nicely put together when I would do it. Like it got me emotional. I wanted to stage it. I was like, no, it's not fair, because it really.
Thank you. What about you, Alice?
I think that I was really impressed with all of them when I was getting all the footage back and like seeing how much they'd given to it, because some of them were letting themselves be really vulnerable and like really giving a lot of energy, and it was just them and a camera in a room, and so I was really impressed with how much they managed to bring to every scene, and how much they managed to like listen to me and like work with me and like give me a chance, like every session when they didn't say what are you on about, like that was yeah, I was really impressed with all of them. I mean, it sounds like not true, but it is true. Like I was really impressed with them all and what they did. Yeah, so yeah, that's mine.
That's lovely. We've had some really lovely questions through. I didn't realise, did you guys ask to direct pieces, or were you selected to direct pieces?
We applied.
You say it one more time, go on, Alicia.
We applied to direct.
You applied. So when you found out that you would be I'm sure not everyone got to direct. So when you found out that you would be directing, how did you feel? You go first, Alice.
Well, I was really happy because I also got my friend's play, so I was like, oh, best of both worlds. So yeah, I was really and it's something that I've been really interested in for a while, and this is like the one chance at Brit that you kind of get to direct and work with people, so I was really happy. I was very happy.
Lovely. Vix?
I was happy too, but I think I was more so scared, like, because obviously Corona, like we wasn't properly like doing it face to face and stuff like that. So I was just like, how am I going to do this over the screen, and like how am I going to get activities to work through like Google Meets and stuff like that. But I was also happy with like what I got like one of my good friends play. It was so good to have someone you're close with. I thought like it was so much easier for me to communicate that. But yeah.
And Alicia?
I was so excited because it was what I wanted. And like when I read the play and I got so excited about the play and I loved the people in my cast, like I was just happy about everything.
So what, Alicia, carrying on from that, what was one of the funniest moments? Either like a scene that you recorded or a rehearsal or...
I'm going to bait Ben out, but they always come onto our call to take the register, and we were recording and he came into the call, but I still don't think he knows this, but we were recording and he came in and he like spoke to us for ages, and we were all on our laughing and sending each other, because we were all under our like makeshift recording thing with our duvets over our heads, and we were just waiting for him to finish because we were still recording, and he didn't know that. I'm watching this.
Alice?
It was quite funny. When we started with the bath and I'd get Rosa to sit in it, that was sometimes we had some odd moments where we were like doing scenes and I don't know, we just felt a bit like silly. It was just a bit silly at the beginning. Yeah, I don't know, I remember that being quite an odd moment. Yeah.
Vix?
I would say maybe with the scene where Jasmine has to sing the intro to Phineas and Ferb, and I think both of my favourite moments were Jasmine's funny moments. I think Phineas and Ferb, and I know that she just bust a face and cringed, and it was just funny her having to do that. And so where she had to pretend to be eating ice cream, but say the flavour of the ice cream really slowly, and she just couldn't get it. But like it was funny that she couldn't get it. Like it sounds bad me saying that it's funny, but at the time it was funny.
I hope she's laughing with you right now. So guys, tell me, those of you that made films, Alice and Viggs, tell me about your cinematography and your editing. Like, how did that work? Do you want to go first, Alice? So describe who was in your team, describe what happened the day of recording and what happened when you were editing. Tell me all about that, please.
Well, we filmed over 2 weeks, so every day I would set them different filming tasks, and I'd sort of planned out all the shots, and for some of them I would give them examples, so I would have like filmed it myself, and then I would send them that, and so I would sort of give them a task, and then I'd get the footage back the next day, and I did all of the editing over those 2 weeks, so I'd sort of go stages by stage, and I mean, I'm not sure like what else there is to say, but it was sort of a process. If I needed to reshoot something, if it didn't work, then I would sort of like give them notes and like how to do it. At first, I was hoping to be able to be with them, but technical issues kind of meant that it just wasn't possible to like be with them while they were filming. So we would sort of work on the scene that they were going to film the day that they filmed it, so that it was fresh and they knew how to do it. And everything was filmed separately, like no one was with anyone else while they were filming. Yeah, that was the process essentially.
Great. And did you storyboard before you?
I storyboarded some. I mean, I hadn't storyboarded the whole film when we started. There were a couple scenes that I still didn't know how we were going to do, and I sort of figured out. And like the FaceTime scene, for example, I didn't want it to be a FaceTime scene because I was like, that's where it sort of was obvious to go to. But part of me like didn't want that. But it ended up working really well, and I quite like it as a FaceTime scene now. But I did storyboard bits of it, but not all of it. And I mean, some of it was, sorry, I was just going to say some of it was also them, like the shots that beginning with Rosa's monologue. I just set her a task to film, to illustrate her monologue with videos, and to go out and take videos of herself as Margot in Margot's life and like what Margot would do. And I got lots, like there's a lot that aren't in the film as well that was great. So there was a sense of independence as well with the filming in that sense. Yeah.
Brilliant, Alice. Vix, tell me about yours. I love the all the kind of green grassy moments.
So mine, compared to Alice, my team's a little bit less organized. But obviously I did try my best to like tell them, oh yeah, today I want you guys to film this. I think I started off focusing on the visual side, like the sides that didn't really need lines. Like get like those type of videos would be quite easier to achieve before actually lines and then filming them. So we like they just sent them in, and the majority of the time they got it spot on. Like it was a thing where I told them, I want you to portray this back, and it worked like exactly what I wanted. And then I edited it all together myself, which was a nightmare. I've got a really, really slow, so it kept crashing and stuff like that. I got it done in the end, which is good, and all that matters.
Well done. Alicia, tell us a bit about how you work technically making your radio play. I heard you talking about duvets, which I've been doing recently, but what else did you do?
So we had the duvet thing. I had my iPad with them on the call, and then I filmed it in voice memos on my phone, and we did it scene by scene, and then we sent it off to Anthony to edit, and then also I had to find the clips from like the music at the start and then the in between and then the sound effects, and then I sent them all in and he did everything.
Good work, Alice. Alice, wow. Alicia, sorry. Okay, let's go to chats. Well, good work everyone, but yeah, great. I think it's good that you kind of gave some work to other people to do. You're like, you edit that for me please, I've done enough. If you could do strawberry picking again, what other plays would you be interested in directing? Let's start with Alicia first. I keep on messing up your name. Sorry, Alicia.
It's okay. I really like The Fun House, which Al wrote. I really like that play. I thought it was so interesting and the twist and stuff. And also if they were doing it in real life, I think that would be really quite cool to direct.
When you say real life, you mean as a stage play?
Like as a play, yeah.
Vix?
I liked all of them, but I really did like Tenebrosity, and I felt like there was so much you could do with that play, like to make it as abstract as possible and creative. Yeah.
Okay, and Alice?
I really loved W. I thought the script for that was really well written. And and I'd love to get the chance to like direct that, and as a stage play as well. I mean, I'd enjoy doing it as a film, but I think there's something about doing it as a play with all of the characters getting to be in the same place. And yeah, it was just such a clever idea, and I just thought that one was great. Yeah.
Brilliant. We've got another question in our chat. So you still all want to be directors then?
Yeah.
For radio, was it weird to hand over your work to be edited by someone else?
Yeah,
you,
it was kind
Alicia.
of like, yeah, it was kind of having a lot of trust, and like even if I envisioned it one way, you just kind of have to give it over and see what they create, which I was happy with anyway, so it was okay.
Did you note your editor? Did you give them a bit of a like
Yeah,
example of what you wanted?
So like if I said there was a violin here, like, this is a sad violin, or like the music in between scenes, like I sent the music and was like, use different variations of this, just little notes, but nothing too controlling, I think.
And if you guys could do this, your particular play again, is there anything you change in terms of, well, casting, rehearsal process, the form, the scene, the ending, anything you'd change? Vigs, you go first.
Casting, no. I loved how like, casting went. I think they fit their characters extremely well. I think rehearsal, maybe be a bit more organised, like do this, and stuff like that. But everything else, I how it came out, like especially as someone who's not very like on the technical side, I think I was able to still produce a film.
Yeah, you guys did an incredible job, really incredible. Alicia?
I think when we first started, we were like, me and my cast were a bit unserious because we had so long, and we weren't like comfortable with each other yet, and we were still trying to figure out like doing it over Google Meets and stuff. I think just being more serious, putting my foot down, getting stuff done from the beginning rather than messing about a little bit, like as we were trying to get to know each other. Whereas we could have just started straight from the beginning.
Well, great. You know for next time now how you want to work. So no, there's nothing lost, just everything gained, hey? Alice?
I mean, with the final thing, I feel like there's always going to be things I want to change. Like the project expands to fit the time frame, and if we had more time, I would still be working on it now. I think one of the things that would have been quite easy to change was sound. I probably next time would get them to record sound on different things to what they filmed on, because we didn't do that this time. And it meant that when I was editing, because there were different shots, sometimes they'd sound really far away and then they'd sound really close, and it took a lot of time. So that's more for my own ease. And I mean, there's always little things I'd like to change, but I thought the cast did great at their roles, and I was really happy with that. So yeah, there's nothing like that I would want to change.
Brilliant. I think we've got time for one more question. Oh, it's our time's, is it up yet? No, it's not. Was it hard keeping the original feel of the piece whilst having your own vision of how it would go? Sounds like a lot of you were really in sync with your writer, but does anyone want to answer that question?
I can. I think I changed mine a bit. Like she said, this is what I think, but do what you want. So I kind of emphasized the kind of lightheartedness and the more funny moments. I feel like I emphasize more rather than the whole like mystery aspect. I think I kind of strayed away a little bit from that, but I think we were both in sync with it anyway.
Great. Anyone else want to answer?
I would just say that I didn't find it that hard, because I feel like because I was having conversations with Thea throughout, and I was giving her my ideas and she was giving me hers. It felt quite like fair. It felt balanced. Like it was sort of, she liked mine, I liked hers, and we had discussions. So it all felt quite organic, and like it wasn't me saying this is what I want and she saying this is what she wants. So yeah, I found it quite easy in that sense.
Brilliant. Vigs?
Yeah, mine's similar to that because I know how much the play meant to me, and I know like the meaning behind it and stuff like that. It was easy for me to try and portray that within the film to the best of my ability as well, because obviously I'm not inside her head, but like I knew what she knew, like a good amount to try and portray that. Yeah.
So guys, if your plays could go on anywhere, where would you want them to have a future life? Would you, if I said all theatres are open tomorrow and you can choose any theatre to stage it at, or you can broadcast it on any network, or I can put Alicia's on BBC Sounds, what would you choose? Would you continue on with the form you've chosen, or would you ask for more time to re-rehearse on stage? Like, where would you, if there was no restriction, what would you want? You go for it first, Alice.
Well, me and Thea have actually spoken about it already, and we both would really love to put it on stage. And that's something that we'd love to do, whether it's with the same cast or different people. Like she would love to be in it as well, and I'd love to like see her in it. So I'd love to do it as a play. But I also quite like it as a film now. So yeah, I'm not sure where I'd want to put it on as a play. I feel like it would maybe work well at like a fringe, like a fringe theatre, because it's quite a short play.
So you're taking it to the Edinburgh Fringe next year?
Yes.
And it's going to go right now onto Netflix?
Yeah, that's the plan.
Alicia?
I think it would be fun to see the possibilities of it as a play, because they're like all of the stage directions that Emily put in would be so cool to see, and like there's a dance number and stuff that would be cool. But I feel like it suits being a radio play. So I think I don't know, I would like to see what it would look like as a play, I think.
Okay, you guys are really...
That's not a straight answer.
No, it's cool. You're both going to have two different lives for your show. You're on BBC Sounds and you're doing it as a play. Alice is on Netflix and she's doing it at Edinburgh Fringe. What about you, Vix?
I would like to see it as a play. I don't know where it will get put on, honestly, I have no clue. But definitely like to see some of the scenes come more to life as well, because obviously there were some restrictions due to COVID. So yeah, I think it would be nice to actually properly see it all together. So I'd like it, like, I don't know, if I had like the budget and the money, like to even have it as a normal film, that would look quite like...
To have it as a what film?
Like a normal, like just film, like minus like Corona, like just filming it together, like getting the scenes done nicely, professionally and stuff like that.
Darling, you are a professional. But yes. Okay, we have a question here, which is, if you could have anyone watch it, which individual would you love to hear your work, apart from me? Anyone got any ideas? It's a hard question. Vix has muted herself. She said no, I'm not answering yet. Alicia?
Oh, I don't know. I really don't know.
Okay, I'll come back to you. Go for it, Vix.
This isn't my final answer, but I would like someone like Ratman, or someone who can invest, or like, I don't know, someone who invest in the film or the play.
You want Purcell Ascot to watch it, since he's got his own production company?
Yeah. Someone like them who will see it and then help me get it out there, if that makes sense.
So is that what you're going to do? You're going to send your film off?
I might have to DM him now, I think.
Remember who your agent is, okay? Alice?
Oh, I really don't think I have an answer. Yeah, I don't know. I can't think, no one comes to mind like immediately. I mean, like Viggs, I'd love someone to see it and be like, oh, I want to put money into this. But I don't know who exactly. I'll try and have a think, but no one comes to mind like at the moment. Yeah.
Okay, let's just see how much time we have. Oh, we've still got some time. Great. I want to ask you, oh no, I won't ask you that. How did you go about, so Alice, you spoke earlier about understanding what a successful note session was and what an unsuccessful note session could look like.
Yeah.
How did you guys evolve as directors during the course of your rehearsals? So I know as well, Alicia, you spoke about trying to get to know people and maybe not jumping straight to the heart of your process straight away. And Vigs, you spoke about trying to get the balance right of being like, I'm your friend, I won't hurt you, but we need to meet this deadline. So what else did you learn about note giving, or about your relationship with the actors, or about how have you evolved as directors? Go for it, Vigs.
I was going to say two things. I think the first thing was, like, my cast had they had respect for me. Like, they knew that I was a director. They listened, like, they took on notes, which was great, and I loved it. And I think for me, it was keeping that consistency of having a idea of what I wanted and how I wanted to show, like, explain it to them and stuff like that. Because at times, I think it's kind of a doubt thing, like, where I've never really had this much, I wouldn't say power, but like this much responsibility. There were times where, like, there were scenes where I didn't know how I wanted to display it. Like, I didn't have a clue on how I wanted to portray this scene, and like, I didn't want to come too confused and too like, oh, she doesn't know what she's doing. I think it's keeping that consistency of pre-planning and pre-getting things done, so you're not on Google Meets with your thinking about like what.
You know what I've learned? It's okay to say you don't know, but it's also not okay to waste people's time. So you can also go, let's have a tea break, while you go, I don't know what's happening. Or you say, what do you think? When you go, because I don't know. So there are ways about going about it without wasting people's time. It is very difficult. You guys have done a brilliant job. Alicia?
I think mine was kind of, there is such thing as over directing and giving too many notes, because then they're just concentrating on what you've said and doing it the way you said, but they are actors. They're going to take the character how they want to, and sometimes they have better ideas than you do. That's what I learned.
Brilliant. It's a good lesson. Alice?
I think I became a lot more confident and comfortable directing. Like, the first few sessions, I remember just planning down to the last minute, like what everything was going to do so that we wouldn't run out of time, and I would like know everything, and I had a plan. And by the last like couple of weeks, it was more, I want to work on this today, and this is my plan, but I might not follow it. And I was it was a lot more free form, and I was more comfortable doing it. And also I learned to trust in the process, which I've been told a lot before, but there were definitely moments where I felt like it was just, everything was just going awfully, and they didn't go awfully in the end. So I just learned to just accept that things will be rubbish sometimes, but they will get better, and it's fine. And not every rehearsal will be the best rehearsal you ever do.
Exactly. Yeah. I think they're really massive lessons that I think you'll continue to practice everything you've learned, because it's never ending. Every project you kind of start again, and I think all of it, you start again with your relationships with your company, how to manage that. You start again with everything. You have to start again, and you just try and draw from what you've learned to go, I have got through this before, so I can get through it again. So well done, everyone. Are you all going to become directors? Is that your path? Alice?
I mean, I would love to be a director. I'd love to, like, I really now want to direct something in an actual theatre, or like actually with people in a room. Yeah, I'd love to, but yeah.
Alicia?
Yeah, I would love to direct. I love it.
Vigs?
Sorry, you froze out for a minute.
You left us.
Oh.
Do you want to direct as a career?
I actually wouldn't mind. I'm not gonna lie. I honestly want to do this again. Like, try it again, because it had its down moments, but there was so many up moments that I would definitely want to experience this again.
Well done. It's great. I want some more female companions, so come on board, guys. Let's change the world. Right. Sarah.
I'm here. I am here. Hey, Ola.
Hello. Is our time up? Is there anything else that we want to ask?
No, that's all
These
the
directors.
That was all the questions that were online. And it's only 15:15, so I feel like we've come to a really good end. Thank you so much, Ola. It's been a
Thank you so much, amazing women, making amazing work in very hard circumstances. So round of applause. It looks like we're trying to get networks to broadcast them, Sarah.
Yeah. Do you know what? When you just mentioned Percy, I've just started writing a message to him. I was like,
there you go.
But also, it's worth saying, Ola's been on the journey with our strawberry picking directors probably since your first read through. So thank you, Ola, for coming on to do a bit of mentoring. It's been really, really important to these guys.
It's been a joy because you guys are so talented. It's just inspiring. So well done, really well done. I can't believe what you've made with the amount of time and resources you have. You should be so proud of yourselves.
Yeah.
You can do anything now. It's
amazing, isn't it? A phone, a laptop, some really amazing creative minds, and magic happens. Yeah, it's brilliant. Panelists, I'm going to ask you to hang on for just a moment, and I'm just going to stop the live feed. So thank everybody for tuning in to listen to day 2. We'll be back tomorrow with our final 3 shows at 9 o'clock on the website, and we're back here at 12:15 and 2:15 to talk to the writers and directors. So yeah, happy strawberry picking. See you all tomorrow.